Welcome! This is an informal developer log for Cuddle Kobold. If you're unfamiliar with the project, you can get more details at setsune.itch.io/kobold. Patrons get to watch these devlogs first, so if you like what you see, head over to patreon.com/setsune and consider supporting. Thank you! This first devlog is about gathering materials. Unity's asset store is in the middle of a big blowout sale, so I did some digging into tools that might make prototyping much easier, starting off with the VR framework. Unity itself now has a VR interaction package that's decent for the basics, but generally you'll want something on top of it to handle more polished interactions, switches, dials, complex mobility, etc. On recommendation, I previously picked up VR Interaction Framework, which is a good all-around system, if a little generic. I'd also picked up AutoHand, which I originally intended to use. It does a great job handling interactions with more natural feels, such as gripping naturally, squeezing, and so on. But I definitely ran into some issues trying it out, which makes me hesitate. In this sale, I picked up Hexabody VR and Hurricane VR, two interconnected systems. Hexabody is more about mobility, using a unique approach to providing a Boneworks-like physical body with some success, and some personal nausea. And Hurricane is about physics interactions. I really like Hurricane's demo in particular. The only trouble is I can't integrate it yet even if I wanted, due to some incompatibilities with the newest versions of Unity that need to be fixed up first. As for the apartment itself, the assets Radical App Dev at twitter.com/radicalappdev generously offered for use are handy, and I'll likely still utilize some of them in the future. I did want a fuller apartment set to work with, so I combed through a bunch of them while having to keep the limitations of the Quest in mind. Originally I decided on and purchased this one, Low Poly Cartoon House Interiors, which does a decent job and would work at a pinch. Some elements will be handy, and I'll keep it on a standby in case I end up needing it. But then I found this one, HD Apartment by Slight Digital. This is a lot closer to the feel I was planning on. I dropped a VR rig into the scene and did some exploring, and was pleased that at least this version runs at a solid frame rate on the Quest 2. Humorously, the scale is off here and there as I feel a little small in this scene, and this toilet might as well be a kobold bathtub. But I can adjust that as I need to, and the nice thing is that this kit includes several different layouts as inspiration with different decorations, so that gives me a good starting point. Some other assets I've picked up to try to make this project possible. Easy Collider Editor. VR requires good, accurate colliders, and even just doing the ones in the blocky Roulant Tower VR was ages of eyeballing and careful alignment in a system really not designed for it. With this, I can highlight points and generate accurate colliders much more efficiently. I also picked up some other collider tools, primarily to tackle difficult shapes like rings, bowls, and so on. How well they work remains to be seen. A-Star Pathfinding Project Pro. This'll take me a bit to learn, but the Kobold needs to be able to navigate the apartment and other environments, especially as objects get moved or knocked over. Grab It, Edit Physics Transforms. This is a tool for more naturally laying out objects in scenes so everything looks physically placed naturally. Early experiments weren't that effective, but maybe I should read the manual, huh? Easy Save. People will not stop raving about this as a saving manager. I've written some save and load code before, but for handling the more in-depth Kobold profiles, it's good to not have to overthink this aspect. Especially cross-platform. Puppet Master. I want a natural ragdoll, slightly clumsy feeling to the Kobold's movements, and this has been on my list for ages. It's going to take some work to learn and fine-tune, and it may be too much for use in a Quest project, but we'll see how that goes. I also picked up some universal render pipeline and VR-friendly post-processing tools, some visual effects, text tools, and more. I'm happy to be speculative with some of these purchases, and in a few cases they overlap, but it makes more sense to hedge my bets on something like picking up two post-processing tools while they're both 50% off, instead of putting all my eggs into one basket, finding out it doesn't work, and having to buy a second solution at full price, or wait for another sale. This really did take a while to dig through all the reviews, sort my lists, and just when I thought I was done, I caught a live stream that added several more to my list. I'm working with a relatively tight budget right now, so I'm trying to be smart with my investments. And if I get bogged down with trying to reinvent the wheel to save a little money or out of personal pride, this project's chances will plummet. So it's about finding those trade-offs and what I can more immediately use. One other investment, I pre-ordered the Deca Move by Deca Gear. This is a small, inexpensive hip tracker, not requiring their Deca Gear VR headset, that's seen some early positive impressions. Supporting third-party hardware is always a little sticky, but it's a feature I'd like to include in the game. It may not work out, but thankfully it didn't break the bank. And it's a nice little extra to stand out with if it does pan out. Wrapping this up, I want to thank my awesome supporters, Sofox, Commander D, Silverwind93, Dark Decumon, A Kitty, Jeffrey Perigo, Dash Winterson, and Derek Adrian. If you want to help me fill this massive asset store-sized hole in my wallet, consider supporting my Patreon at patreon.com/Setsune. Thank you and have a wonderful night.